Hey guys, welcome back to Kids in the Sofa. Look, it is 9:30 p.m. here in Tokyo. I am not going to mess around, right? The day is ending, okay? So let's get into Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, the first trailer. I'm really excited to see how he's going to go about this. Big Nolan fan, but he's a very realist director, so I was a little bit worried about it when I found out he was picking this up. Because I really don't want him to explain away the Greek gods and stuff by, I don't know, Odysseus, sniffing on, spiced incense or whatever in battle in Troy. I don't know. But when I saw the photos that there were actors and actresses playing the Greek gods, I was like, okay, we'll see how this goes. So join me for the end of the video where I get into that, what I thought about it, some of my background with, studying, research, and studying Latin in high school, reading the Aeneid, some of it, the Latin version of the Odyssey. All right, without further ado, let's get it. Universe. Syncope. That's his production house or distributor. What is this, graveyard? Whoa, who is this?
After years of war,
That must be Achilles? Maybe.
no one could stand between my men. And home.
Tom Holland.
Not even me.
Wow. Oh. I saw an Asian guy at the boat. What's up? Oh, man. Okay. Nolan is bringing it. Okay. What is that? Oh, okay.
Promise me you will come back.
What if I can't?
Wow. Interesting. Okay. Wow. Man, that was something else right there. You know what? I'll say right off the bat, that looked exactly how I would imagine Christopher Nolan would make the Odyssey. If he still respected the mythological elements of it, right? The Cyclops coming in through the cave and all of that. So he's showing these fantastical elements, but still with that kind of slightly muted, realistic visual effect, which Nolan has become known for. So, I don't know. You know what? The Odyssey, I know about the Odyssey, okay? I know about the Iliad and the Odyssey. The Iliad is the war from the Greeks' point of view, about the war against Troy, right? Trojan War. And I studied Latin in a Catholic high school, so I read the Aeneid. The Aeneid is the Roman side, right? Or the Trojan side of the same conflict, right? And it is about, it's called the Aeneid because the main character is Aeneas, and it follows his own journey trying to search for a new home, right? Which is the beginnings of Rome, right? The Romans trace mythohistory, right? Mythohistorical origins. They trace their beginnings back to Aeneas, right? Romulus, Remus, and then back to Aeneid after the war. So I've always liked that. My Latin teacher did bring up that, okay, there is a Greek side, and I was like, So I didn't know much about that when I was in high school. The Greek version, the Odyssey, Iliad and Odyssey, is much more popular, famous. I don't think I've ever seen any movie of the Aeneid. If you know of a movie of the Aeneid or TV show, let me know in the comments, because I do not, for the life of me, I can't remember that. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So a lot of things happen to Odysseus after the Iliad, which is all about the war with Troy, and culminating with the Trojan horse, and then after that, his trip home is the Odyssey, like a separate story. But there are lots of, like I said, fantastical elements. I don't know what those soldiers were that stood up from under the ground, because I didn't really read the Odyssey. I read it only in bits. So if you guys know, let me know. I know that it takes years, right? I think decades for Odysseus to get back. But speaking just about the style, the way that Nolan is doing it, I like it because, like I said, he's still tackling the fantastical elements, but he's presenting it as if how it would look if it really happened in the real world. That's why it has that muted, slightly toned down visual look, which to me, it feels striking, because it's like, whoa, it feels like real history, like something that you could have dug up on an archaeological dig, I am wondering some of the elements, scenes I saw in the trailer, who exactly it was. I'm guessing that the person he was bowing before could have been, was it Agamemnon? Yeah, I didn't know if that was Agamemnon or Achilles, but I'm guessing, just because it looks more like a warrior, a soldier, I'm guessing that was Achilles. And if it was, wow, that makes you wonder why it is Odysseus was bowing to him. It could be he was bowing in thanks. Thank you for coming, bringing your, taste and preternatural skill and war to the battle, right? And he says, after years of war, I'm just kind of going back through it a little bit. I like that he says after years of war, because I believe that the Iliad took place over years, whereas the old Brad Pitt movie, Troy, that was like a matter of days or like a week or so, right? That's the thing. When you do these movies about these great epics, right, that are, books, novels, especially ancient ones that are ancient war songs or epics, you really have to push squash down a lot of content, and it just doesn't service the story as well. Now, granted, if you've never read any of this stuff, if you're not acquainted with it, it probably won't bother you as much. You will probably notice some things, but you just can't savor it as well as you could if it joined, the second golden age of TV right now, right? I mean, TV right now is at the level where, man, it's making going to the movie theater is almost like in danger, wow. So, I'm a fan. I like this movie. I like the look of it. But a part of me does wonder if they should have just done a 6-episode series. Christopher Nolan, bring his money to the TV series, a limited series, and just really do it up, do it right. But we'll see. It might be an epic, mammoth, length movie. I'm okay with that too. I love long movies, guys. What about you? Do you like long movies? I love, if they're done right, I love it. Lawrence of Arabia. Me and my buddies, back in college, this was back in, 1999, 2000. Yeah, we came back from winter vacation one day. We were roommates at, 4 of us in an apartment. And, we just had a bunch of leftover Christmas dinner. One of our buddies was, while we went back home, he stayed there, hosted a party for, teachers and students who couldn't make it back home because they were from overseas, they were foreigners, So once we got back to the apartment, all this food was there, Hawaiian coffee, so we were like, hey, you guys ever seen Lawrence of Arabia? No. Put it on. Let's do it. We watched all 4 hours of that film, and it was lovely. It was snowing outside, snow caked up against the glass patio doors, but it was such a warm, just cool, intellectual atmosphere in the house, and it was so fun just to talk about film, and just get lost in that world. So I'm okay if Nolan makes a 4-hour, I don't think he will, but if he did make a 4-hour version of this, if this turns out to be a long epic film, I'm okay with it. Same thing with the Lord of the Rings trilogies, the original, love that, love it, especially with the extended editions when those came out. Oh man, we wolfed those down back in the college days, man. Oh, it was so awesome. So anyway, guys, you tell me, what do you think about this? Are you excited for Nolan's The Odyssey? What do you think? Do you think it's gonna do well? Now, another thing I want to bring up. The whole ethnicity thing, okay? I feel like I'm split straight down the middle on this, okay? To me, if you're a great filmmaker, you can make any situation work, okay? I'll watch it just because Christopher Nolan is directing it. I'll watch it because Ridley Scott is making it, okay? But at the same time, the missionary in me, I am a Christian missionary. I am a Christian, researcher, kind of more amateur, but breaking out, growing in that as well. Historical research, archaeological research. I've written a book about biblical archaeology. I live in Japan. I've been serving here for 16 years. I've been to parts of Africa, been to the British Museum, all that for research. That part of me really, really is in awe of the diversity of the human being as a species, as tribes across the earth, the different looks, and just descent, being able to look in a person's face and see the history in their face. It's just awesome to me, that kind of diversity and wonder that God has brought into human beings. Even in the chapel that I lead here, there's a family of Mongolians, and some of them, when I look in their face, I can see the history of Genghis Khan and his expeditions, and we'll be nice, call them expeditions, but we know what it really was, across Asia and parts of Europe, and you can see the mixtures of ethnicity in their face and in their eyes. It's just it's just a wonderful thing to see. Sometimes under unfortunate circumstances, but just the diversity of the human being, And I like to see that reflected in stories and in films and in movies, especially if you're making a story that was birthed from a certain culture of people. I want to see them represented. Yes, I do. And it's not simply because of pride and ethnic pride, but it really sucks me into that world. When I see something that is just doesn't make sense, and I'm looking at the actor, that takes me out of it. If I go watch Black Panther, and instead of what's the brother's name? I was gonna say Jomon Holzer. No, Chadwick Boseman. Yeah, it's like if I go see Black Panther, and instead of Chadwick Boseman, I see what Carrot Top. Okay, I know that's just ridiculous, right? That comparison, but seriously, sometimes it's like that when you see these so-called historical films, and you see just such gross misinterpretation, misrepresentation, that you wonder if the directors went out of their way to try to make people angry, But once again, at the same time, if the actor they do choose, once I get over the discomfort and anger about this thing not mattering to people, if the actor's performance is really great, then having said all of that, because I'm a very balanced individual, I don't like this whole thing these days where people are like something, love it or hate it. You know, I don't get that. You know, I believe in maturity, nuance. You know, you like what you like, you don't like what you don't like. But just because there's some points you don't like with a film does not make the whole thing garbage or horrible. These words I see on social media. That was horrible. That was terrible. I'm like, what are you talking about? Have you ever seen Man Knows the Hands of Fate? That is a terrible film. I challenge you to watch that and come away calling any other movie garbage. So anyway, all right, enough ranting. Thank you so much, guys. If you like my reaction, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, give me a thumbs down. It's okay. The road will go on. I'll keep getting better. So God bless you wherever you are in the world. Merry Christmas, and I'll see you